Okay, so pretty straightforward. The title explains it. Tier list that personally we think that fits in a certain competitive gameplay, and of course this is our own analysis. Myself and you can say your name.
People know me.
Oh, people know you. Okay.
But for people who don't know me, I'm Stellone.
All right, Stellone. So let's go through this list, and I think it would be better to go list by list, row by row in this case.
Yeah, I agree.
To be clear with the criteria, we are not doing S, A, B, C, D. We are going with must-have, certain mechs that we believe is very necessary in a hangar. Always good are always options to add into your hangar. Situational are also options to add, but we look at it on a bigger scale in a team composition of 5 different hangars. So you want to look at a 25 mech count. And then the unnecessary is pretty straightforward. Mechs that you really don't have to, is more for fun, agreed, but not for high tier competitive gameplay, because they will either lack health, speed, well, not all for speed, but definitely the health, weapon capacity, and other things that we'll talk about once we go through each mech one by one. Okay, to sum it up, we are looking for the weapon capacity, and what are the 2 other things, Stellone? Can you remind me?
HP pool and ability.
Okay, great. So let's go through this. As we said, we're going to start from the list by list, a row by row, unnecessary list. So Stellone, if we go through this, where do we stop here?
Definitely, we have to stop to poor old Arachnos that it's a meme among the Mech Arena community. Yeah. But sadly, it cannot go higher than this. Because despite it has a 32 energy capacity, speed and HP pool are not great.
Definitely. This list could be a little bit faster even with Ares as well. Great concept, but very difficult in HP pool, and also the shield itself. Almost every shield in the game, actually every shield in the game except for the Dome of Ages goes down with one shot at higher gameplay. Okay, so next we have Cheetah. Ability is not very viable in the game overall. Like, the concept is nice. Like, imagine you would be able to mine an area, mine a certain location, especially in control point games, but you can only put 3, and you need to even get to that position to try to put some, and you might die while trying to push up.
Yeah.
Next on the list.
Next on the list has to be poor old Juggernaut. The only thing that makes Spatial Bastion is the fact that it can stun. But Juggernaut and Ares, they don't have extra abilities on their shields.
Agreed. Looking into next mechs, I almost took kill shot of here. Lancer. Now, this is going to be a different conversation for later with Lacewing, but the idea of unnecessary mech for Lancer is not that the ability, no, the ability is great. Like, you have maps like Tunnel of Fate and different other maps. We don't have to go through all of them one by one, of course, but the jump is great, no doubt. But the mech is just too squishy. It's too, has low HP, has low weapon capacity. It's just not viable overall for a 5 mech hangar, or in this case a 25 mech hangar you would want to have in a team. Okay.
Yeah. Many of us enjoyed it with Shotguns 8 back in the days, before the great rebalance. But after that, it became just too squishy.
Yeah. Your favorite mech, Stellone?
Yeah. For me, it would be a must-have if the heal wouldn't be interrupted by everything that flies by, and if it was a little higher.
Yeah, of course.
Because I would have no problem with the HP pool and the weapon capacity, but the heals are just not enough in this meta, especially where everything can basically one-shot you, and the ability gets stopped by every flying bullet.
Okay, going again through the list, we have Paragon.
Oh, Paragon.
Yeah,
Paragon.
I
Almost escaped.
I actually I enjoy this mech. I love the concept of it. It was the first mech that you played with, of course, when you started the game. Until you realize that it is not that great of a mech, but what to do?
I also maxed it out just for the meme.
Okay.
But it can't go over the meme.
Right. We got Puma. Again.
Yeah.
Very
Dollar Store Panther.
Dollar Store Panther. That is actually the more accurate term. It's a very interesting mech. You know, like especially like when you start the game and you have a kind of shield mechanics. The only really big issue with it is that, other than the weapon capacity and the health, of course, is that the shield itself has a health, and that health is not very high, so just basically useless. Then we got Radox in the end.
Radox.
What's your comments on this?
Again, another mech with a good concept when we talk about the ability. Slows down, deals damage, but it's just not enough. Not enough. And the mech itself is low. Like, man, isn't it the slowest mech in the game?
I think so, yeah. I had to check the numbers, but what was it, 16 maybe? 14? Is there 14?
I have no idea, but if there is, Redux is the winner.
Yeah, I can actually double check here. Redux is 16. Yep, 16.
16? Yay. Okay.
Alright, moving on. Next, we have this is one of the shield mechs we're talking about.
The Sentinel.
Yeah. Honestly speaking, once we finish this unnecessary list, I'm gonna give one more comment again. But let's go through it again. So then next, Shadow, which a lot of hate will come from this because definitely fun mech to play. Basically a smaller Eclipse. But like I said, smaller, so dies faster. Yeah.
And another issue we haven't mentioned so far, but everyone is aware about, is the cost of upgrading the 16 energy mechs. It's just the highest in the game for the lowest reward, in my opinion. Because the mechs aren't themselves too great. Actually, they aren't even playable at the current state of the game. Like, maybe Shadow can survive in some instances, but still, it's not a mech to invest resources on.
Agreed. Who do we have? Oh my god, this guy, you know,
Dollar Store Killshot.
this guy, when I first started the game, I was like, you know, it looks so cool and it has a cool ability. And I didn't know about Killshot. I didn't actually look at every mech, and I almost fell for maxing this guy out. But I got saved last second by Google.com.
I started the game. Oh yeah, thank God you Googled it, because I started the game back when there weren't pilots. There weren't even pilots in the game. And when these things came out, the Slingshot and the Puma, I was like, damn, is anyone going to max these things? Then I found out that Panther and Killshot got an increase in the price. And I was like, yeah, of course someone will buy these and upgrade these. And eventually there were players that upgraded Slingshot to put mortars on them, because there was this trend of a Killshot with mortars. So when they maxed Slingshot, they would put mortars in it and go with Meserax Killshots, back when Nomad wasn't a thing in the game.
Yeah, which is actually not a bad concept. The whole thing about mortars on a dasher is, you know, you're your own person. You can escape by yourself. You can reposition by yourself. So you don't require your team support. But that's on a solo kind of gameplay, and we're trying to look for more of a team kind of gameplay here. So moving on, we also can add the I'm so sorry.
Overall Tengu. Man, it was crazy.
Yeah.
When the shotguns ate and before the great rebalance. I wish that we will have a future mech 24 energy capacity with the same concept ability, maybe slightly better, as we got now the Lace Wing instead of a Lancer. So definitely something like this will come in the future. But for now, Tengu doesn't get better than this.
That's correct, and I think from the unnecessary list that does it. But one comment overall, all of these mechs are all fun mechs, no doubt. Interesting concepts, you know, and with just the right amount of rebalancing, or in this case, reworking, these mechs could be viable. But then again, lots of them have a evolved version, like the Puma has an evolved version, the Slingshot has an evolved version. Now the Lancer, I was about to say Lane's wing. The Lancer has also, so you know, that's why we say unnecessary. All of these mechs are unnecessary, of course. Moving on to situational, and in this category, it's all about thinking on a 25 mech hanger loadout between your team of 5 players. So when you are looking at 25 mech hanger, you could have one of these or 2 of these tops per team in this case, right? Rather than every hanger should have 1 or so.
Yes.
Okay. So let's start again from the top here. We have not Aegis, no.
Definitely not.
The first one. I think we can consider Gatecrasher here immediately as the situational. The main, like, this is so close to being unnecessary as well, but the main thing that really puts it up here is the health, the movement speed, and the weapon capacity. Like, it's an overall good mech for many weapons, but its ability is just, it's again, honestly speaking, Stellone, first time I met you, we were playing 2v2. It was me and Kronos versus you and Wolf.
Yeah, I remember.
Yes, and I last second I threw my beam and it killed him. He was behind a wall. It killed him. We got that round. But again, the amount of times that has happened is just too low, right? So that's why we say it's situational, just because of its beefy and speedy nature.
Yeah. Again, the ability concept is great, but the damage isn't just there.
Yeah.
Not enough.
Yeah.
Not enough. Even with ability implants, not enough.
Yeah. Next, yours.
Bricky.
You know, some maps like
it was.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You know, two arches. Is it 2 arches? The small map.
5v5 one.
5v5.
Completely open.
Yeah. Put one brick house there with double ages, and everyone gets a damage
dominate
boost.
the game.
Yeah. Just, which is fun actually, and also very situational. Like, exactly. So right, if you are playing a tournament and you know what maps you're getting, and you know there's a clustered map where you're usually together next to each other, or you're planning to play brick house with your Panther, for example, you know, that's a good combo where you can boost certain mix damage. But then again, the argument is all weapons and games do a lot of damage already, so why do we need this? It's also like a reload management, ammo management that you could have, that sometimes you don't get that double damage that you wish you got, but Brickhouse can give you that. So that's why it's a situational kind of concept. 1, I would say, per team, if you would have one, and that's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Couldn't agree more.
What else we got here? Go ahead. Next yours.
Well, next. Guardian.
What's your
And
comments?
what puts it on a situational category instead of unnecessary is just the implant. I have to be honest. What makes it special is the implant. The range, the system crash range, which can get up to 45 meters, can be a great ability, but it's a mech that it's slow, it's squishy, has to be protected always, and given the ability cooldowns, so the fact that they are so fast, and also on top of this, the current state of Mech Arena is when Nomad dashes a Guardian, and when also Seeker teleports to a Guardian, there's weird interactions that happen. Like, for example, sometimes the Seeker gets teleported back, sometimes it doesn't. The Nomad, same thing. Sometimes loses resistance, most times it doesn't. The resistance stays up. And what you're in fact doing is just shortening the cooldown on the Nomad that rushes you. And of course, every team has at least 5 Nomads in endgame. So I can't really think of a good moment to spawn this mech unless it's a 5v5 on a clustered map, and you can rely on vortexes and aegis to protect this guy.
Yeah, that's just too much resources for one. So that's why, at least if you got that implant, you're already in a good position. You just also need to make sure that you have support as well. If you don't, you're just having an empty slot there.
Yeah.
Moving on next week, an interesting one. Hemlock. Now, Hemlock rates differently in different kind of game modes. Okay, so we got CPC is different, 5v5 is different, 2v2 is different, and 1v1 is definitely different. So we've seen this a lot with some of our peers, where you know, honestly speaking, if you just sleep someone and you're in a 1v1 situation, let's say you're in full control, the person just needs to either kill their own mech, or just wait until they die. So yeah, stuff like that. But situational in an overall team, because it pins you down to a certain point where you're trying to sleep, constantly trying to sleep people, because the ability is actually quite strong, right? But you'll be playing back most of the time, and the weapon choices on it is not much, because you would be peeking as well a lot, and you don't have any kind of ability that is defensive. However, it does have a good amount of health, so that's also a plus sign for it. But overall, situational.
Yeah, the only drawback on the ability is the fact that the stun isn't instantaneous as it would be on a surge. Like, the sleep effect kicks in only after 2 seconds. Yeah. Am I correct?
Yeah. And I actually have the implant. And it is very effective.
Okay.
But let me just double check. The sleep is 1.5 seconds delay.
Okay.
I have the implant, and it's very effective, but I still get a lot of damage from the opponent that dashes into me or something, which means one more dash and I'm dead, which is still okay, right? But very dangerous based on which side they're hitting from.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Your take?
Kill shot. Yeah. There's not much to say. It's a better slingshot, but a worse Nomad. HP pool, HP pool isn't great. Energy capacity is same as a Nomad and a slingshot, but it doesn't get a resistance, so you can just go for eye, and that's it pretty much.
That's true.
You can't do much more with it.
Its main problem is being very low in health. This is yours. You take this.
My love, Onyx. Man, I spent countless hours learning how to splash that missile that has on the shoulder. And it's great satisfaction when you hit that and players are like, what the fuck was that? So it can deal a ton of damage. Like, consider max Onyx with no implants, 140,000 damage when you splash the ground behind an enemy. So when you get the back damage. No implants, 140,000 damage. It's awesome. But problem is, we have to consider which scenarios are good for this mech. And I would say just 1v1 and 2v2, hardly 2v2. Because when we get to a 5v5 and CPC, we have to consider it useless because of the speed. Mm-hmm. And because the lateral movements, which hinder him the most, They are too slow to escape whatever comes at them. And of course, HP pool isn't the same as a Bastion, so whatever rushes at him, it's just game over for him.
Yep, agreed.
But really fun mech overall. So you can keep it just for fun.
Yeah, I've tried it with max radius, max damage back in the day when we had implant removal. And it was definitely fun. It was something else. All right, what do we have next?
Moving on,
right.
Scorpius. Oh, we got the Orion.
Yeah, I know you like Orion, but still, situation. Ability's amazing, no doubt. It's just the same as other concepts. Its health is low, relatively slower. 24 energy mech is actually pretty good, but for a mech that is slow and low health, it's very difficult for it to provide much value, except for its ability, which is amazing. You can have one in a team and throw off your opponents every now and then with throwing a mark.
Yep.
Definitely. Next we got Scorpius, right?
Better Arachnos, but that's as far as it gets.
Yeah, has a good ability overall. For spam, for chipping down people, especially nowadays with a lot of camping behind walls. This can really, put some pressure onto people to pin them down in those locations. What do we got next?
Well, Stalker. Well, back in the day, we can all agree that it was the best mech in the game. Just put a Perak Torrents 12 and get 40 kills per game. But after the rebalance, it's just too squishy. Too squishy. You can't be seen on the map, otherwise you're just toast. One shot, bam, you're gone. The ability is great for spamming molders, the new fuse molders, helixes, but that's as far as you can get.
Yeah, agreed. Got the next mech here would be Zephyr. Actually, there are a lot of maps, especially the close quarter maps in 5v5, where Zephyr can be very viable in a kind of tactical way, positioning it in a specific location that can control the map. For example, there's that cargo dock. ZC cargo dock, I think.
ZC cargo dock.
It's with the implant radius that also makes it much more viable because it can tackle a lot of members in the map itself, really pressure the opponents, and of course you do need a teammate or two to be with you to protect you down there, of course. All right, moving on to the next mech. You've done a lot of tests with this one. What do you think?
I like it, but it can't get further than situational. Like, you have to constantly be aware of rushy mechs and seekers, which are the main threat for a slow mech nowadays. The fact is, it can protect itself, it can help teammates push or ambush specific targets, but you really have to sit back. You can't even allow this thing to get to the center of a map, or if possible, keep it out of a seeker range, but it's hardly doable on most maps. Maybe those that can offer lots of platforms, so you can juke seekers to teleport underneath you or above you. But yeah, it's situational. Like, it's good having one per team, not more than one, and it has to be marching behind 2 or 3 allies to survive.
Agreed. For the next list here, we will jump into the must-have first, just to define exactly what that is and what are the optional mechs that you can pick with it that will complement.
Agreed.
So, from the must-have here, we have first on the list, Nomad is undoubtedly a very viable mech. The dash is one, helps you get to places the damage reduction that it gets from a dash keeps you alive, as long as you can survive going in, and then the second dash to escape or to go further and damage other opponents. Overall, ability is great, capacity is great, health is great. It's a must-have mech in that sense.
Couldn't agree more.
What do you have to say about Surge?
Well, Surge, same concept as Nomad, great mobility, decent HP pool, but of course you can't afford ambushing enemies the same way you would do with a Nomad. So for example, with a Nomad, you could just face first a Bastion, of course when it doesn't have a shield. Face first an Aegis, or a group of 2 or 3 enemies to get the most damage out possible. With a Surge, you have to carefully pick your targets. Of course, you can sacrifice it to stun a group of people to help out teammates push, but on top of the dash and movement speed, you also got the stealth ability. And the stealth ability helps to both mobility and surprise attacks. So you can put whatever you want on a Surge, ranging from missiles to sniping weapons to even helixes on some maps, depending on what's your playstyle. I personally love mortars, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, you should definitely check out his mortar gameplay on Surge, where dashes in and uses the ceiling to get rid of his opponents. Quite funny, but not funny if you're the victim. I've tried.
Yeah.
Then definitely we have next on the list here Seeker. This mech, as soon as it came out, I think more than half the community just immediately bought it without thinking about, waiting for discounts like usually we would immediately take it from the event crate rush and just bam. Everyone has a Seeker from the first week. Yep, max it up. Because the concept of this mech, like similar things. It's all getting closer to the opponents. This one gets to your opponents. Like, he just teleports like that. And he also teleport behind them too. So that's like side and back damage easy, right? That even the delay is insignificant, honestly. Unless, of course, if you are teleporting against Aegis or Panther, you must really be careful or watch out for their shield cooldowns and where are they placed exactly in the shield? Are they in the middle? Are they all the way on the edge? And so on. So that is very important to keep tabs on.
You can't brainlessly rush in as you would do with a Nomad, for example, because people can take it down easily. It doesn't have a ton of HP. The shield it gets is just barely enough to save him from one sniping shot. But you have to carefully select your targets. But if you do so, you can do a lot of damage, like 10 kills per game, easy, in a custom match.
Agreed. We're gonna stop here with the must-have. So that means if you are ever building a hangar of 5, so for one player basically, because we were talking about a whole team at the beginning, this would be a very good standard that every member should have: a Nomad, a Surge, a Seeker. And then after that, it's up to the list of always good and situational that you would want to build your team with. So clearly these will be the next part of the list, but we'll talk about each one of them one by one as we go through them. And ideally speaking, you would want to add 2 of the always good into this must-have hangar to complete a 5 mech hangar. Of course, every player in the team could have a different one, right? But would still say or advise that these 3 should be available in the hangar. Okay, so with Aegis, without a doubt, great mech. A lot of things have changed for it after it first got the buff. In terms of people getting used to actually the shield, because it was a different concept when it came out. And second, weapons. Certain weapons came out that can really, and now being used frequently, such as Stormrax, and that could be detrimental to the shield. Breaks it quite fast. People have gotten used to breaking the shield with a sniper, especially the EM rifle. They realized that they could also just shoot the shield, after getting used to it, understanding how much damage it does. The shield just pops out quite fast, actually. It's not that difficult in a team game situation. And it became a whole call out that people actually focus down shields because it really hinders the Aegis on the opponent's side. But still an always good mech regardless, especially when you combo with another Aegis and you're trying to advance into a certain position.
Or with a Vortex, and the Vortex can do a great job keeping the shield alive. It's going to take a lot more shots to take it down.
Yeah. What do you want to say about Bastion?
Bastion, it's not a mech that I personally like, but I have to admit that it has great value in both solo gameplay and in a team situation as well, because it can hold ground really efficiently, and the shield being active, it's a very detrimental element when it comes to deciding whether to push or to camp. So of course people nowadays are used to call out Bastion shields because of course they can stun you, and even that short stun can completely mess up an attack, whether it's a Nomad, whether it's a Surge, a Seeker, whatever gets close fast, won't rush in carelessly as it would do when the shield isn't up. So great mech, given his ability. HP pool, amazing. It's the highest in the game, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And the energy capacity, 24. Just enough to hold a pair of Stormrax, or can't really think about a different weapon, but of course, setups are a different story. But overall, a great mech to hold ground and to slowly advance towards an enemy control point.
Yeah, agreed. Moving on to the next mech, my personal favorite actually, Eclipse. I remember when I first got into playing competitively, it was Eclipse railguns. And until today, I hear comments of others who do start playing Eclipse railguns, and they really get hooked because the concept of it is very interesting. Right? You're invisible, not easily targetable, and also really free in terms of the shooting. Right? You could jiggle peek, so you would be peek, shoot, come back, without people reacting to it because you're not shown in the map. But of course, in competitive gameplay with teams, people are getting more used to, especially on PC, getting more used to marking invisible mechs, right? So that still kind of shows where you are, right? So that's something to consider as well for the mech.
Is it really just me that I'm not a fan of Eclipse? Like,
maybe
it's something else.
Too much walking. You don't like to walk. You like to jump and dash. So.
Yeah, I either like to jump, dash, or spam shields.
Yeah,
that's it.
Moving on to the next mech is yours for the take.
My personal favorite, since I started playing Mech Arena, has been my number one mech. And man, when I got into railguns, like I saw Omen Aziz playing this thing in a custom against me, Jesus Christ, that hooked me up definitely and made me buy railguns and play only railguns. Like even during the rifle meta, I've only played railguns, and that's what made me achieve the level of precision that I have today with railguns. And of course, sometimes I would run a Panther, sometimes I wouldn't, but still, it's my personal favorite, and in every game mode, to me, it excels. But of course, it's a personal choice.
Yeah, and for me, I cannot do Panther properly, so I stick with the more squishier and the mobile mechs from my side. Except for this guy, and I mean, I used to play Redeemer EM rifle before the bug, or not the bug, sorry, before the fix happened, and I swear to God,
Fix.
that when the change happened,
I know.
When the change
That messed
happened,
up a lot of players.
I didn't know about it. I didn't like read about it, and I swear I thought my internet was the problem. And the first thing I was doing like I went to check my internet provider. I went, okay, connect to the 5G, connect to the Wi-Fi.
Like, guys, I can't play my Redeemer properly. Please fix your connection, please.
And then, no, wait, hold on. I was thinking that, okay, maybe I need to upgrade my internet. I didn't upgrade, but I went to my friend's house, for example, like better internet. I was like, it's still the same thing. It's still lagging. What's happening? Then
It's still lagging.
Yeah, then I come to find out that it was a change they did, and I was sad after that, and I stopped playing Redeemer ever since.
No, that got me into Redeemer even more.
Okay.
Why? Because people would think that it's an easy pick, like it's an easy kill.
Yeah.
But matter of fact is, if you time it correctly, when paired with whatever missile weapon you want, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've seen it. I never want to be a victim of that. Next mech, Vortex, also known as Moto. Thank you, Vulcan. So this mech, he's just, beefy, speedy, scary. You see this guy turn on his ability, you just want to dip.
Yeah.
Immediately.
You want to change sides of a map and just wait for the ability to be off before approaching him.
Yes. But then, when the ability is off, it becomes a very, very easy target because it's so slow. So you can easily hit the backs and sides. So that's something to also keep in mind when you're playing this mech.
Yeah.
Lacewing.
360 no scope, let's go!
Lacewing. Tell us about your endeavors with Lacewing.
Lancer definitely was a go-to when I paired it with shotguns, and jumping around was just awesome, because what this game lacked was three-dimensional movement, and Lancer kinda filled that gap. And now that we have a Lacewing, sadly it's banned from MACC2 just because of few bugs in lots of maps, but hopefully those will get fixed soon and we can use it on MACC3 hopefully, because it's a great mech. Like, I would say that most players wouldn't consider it being incredibly good, because of course you can snipe him, you can throw helix racks, you can throw mortars at him. Of course, staying on high ground doesn't allow seekers to teleport on him, which is great, but it's a fun mech. It can get to great spots that you can use to your own advantage, and it's a great distraction element for the enemy team. So I would run it personally.
Agreed. I myself enjoy it. That I would always suggest that in a team of 25 mechs, you don't want to have, I think 2 is more than enough, because it influences or incentivizes camping playstyle, and you don't want to have a lot of campers. It's just like Seeker as well. You don't want to have a lot of Seekers out at the same time, but it's very difficult to control that. So the easiest way is to have a controlled amount per team. So this way, even if 2 of them come out at the same time, it is okay. One on the right side, one on the left side. There you go. Done. So this concludes overall our tier list, and this, by all means, there's no horizontal ranking between the mechs. It's just as is. Must have, always good, that you can put in here, for example, if you want. That's to your preference. Situational can also go in here, for example. That is also an option, but unnecessary is definitely recommended to avoid at all cost. in competitive high-tier gameplay and game something, right?
I would say every situation, even low SP players, don't want to invest too many resources into these mechs just because really few of them can help you out to get to the mid-game stage of a game. But that's it pretty much. You don't want to invest too much resources on these mechs, because they won't get you too far. And consider that the more you invest into your mechs and weapons, the higher SP would be the players that you will be matched with. That most likely will have better mechs by that point.
Agreed. Thank you very much, Stellone, for your time. We're going to conclude this
Thanks
here,
to you.
and of course, anytime we're working together to build as much as we can for the community, share as much knowledge as we can, and hopefully we'll be making a weapon tier list video as well, based on similar criterias. So going back to criteria again, one more summary, that these mechs are ranked based on their abilities, how much value these abilities bring in the team situation, their weapon capacity, and their health and movement speed. So that's it. Thank you very much, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.